Hey bitch, and welcome back to another video of me talking about people I hate. You know, all too often I hear people or I see people on social media whenever anything happens, and people always end up commenting stuff like, oh guys, Raleigh was right about this. She pointed this out years ago. I am not smarter than any of you. All of this is common sense. Every single video I make is literally common sense. And today's video is no different because today we're talking about, again, why you should absolutely never go to nose-to-butt trail riding facilities. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. If there is a facility that rents horses out for trail rides, nose-to-butt riding, etc., do not go there. Don't participate. Don't rent the horses. Most of these facilities are completely unregulated. You have an incredibly high chance of being injured, getting on a horse that doesn't have proper training, getting on a horse that is not cared for properly, is not getting good nutrition, is probably dehydrated, probably standing in the sun all day with ill-fitted tack, with saddle sores, with cuts, with bruises, with injuries, with inconsistent farrier work, with inconsistent vet work. The list goes on and on and on. All of these horses at these trail riding facilities, these rent-to-ride places, are all overworked and they're all mistreated. And I don't know how many times I have to say that because it's literally just common sense. And just last week, one of the largest horse trail riding facilities in the United States, at least the Western United States, has been shut down for animal abuse. Was anybody surprised? No, they weren't. And I told everybody this years ago. And I remember when I made my video talking about how terrible horse nose-to-butt riding facilities are, there were so many people in the comments defending it for like no reason at all. Now listen, I understand that a lot of people don't want to accept responsibility because maybe you guys participated in a nose-to-butt trail ride at some point, you rode horses that were exploited or being abused, etc. And maybe you just don't want to admit that you were wrong for doing that. But let me enlighten you. Pretty much everybody has gone to a nose-to-butt trail riding facility. Even I have when I was a little kid. It doesn't make you a bad person. In fact, it actually makes you a good person to recognize your mistakes and move on and acknowledge that that's not something that you ever want to do again. You learn from your mistakes and you move on. You don't keep defending it. But before we get into today's video, guys, I have to say a big thank you to myself because I actually relaunched my clothing line, except we rebranded, and the new name for my clothing company is Orbiting Beasts. As you guys know, I create all of my own artwork. I create cartoon art and I also create digital collage artwork. All of my digital collage artwork is only going to be available on canvases, and we actually just launched our new design. So excited about this. I love this design so much. And also all of my cartoon artwork is available on shirts, hoodies, apparel, etc. on orbitingbeasts.com. And this goes for all of my original cartoon artwork that dates back several years when I first launched Link Equestrian in 2018. For those of you who don't know, I shut down Link Equestrian because my manufacturer owed me thousands of dollars, like tens of thousands of dollars. And I had an ongoing dispute with them for like a year before I was able to get everything settled and resolved. And now I finally have all my old original designs again. So if you missed out on getting any of my original designs or you want any new designs, you can click that link. It's going to be the first one down below. Also, I wanted to tell you, I do have a Patreon, you guys, and a members. Please subscribe if you want to watch all of our horsey training videos or behind the scenes. So today we're talking about Chaparral Ranch in Golden Gate Park. This is a horseback riding facility that does nose-to-butt trail rides, and also I think they do pay to ride lessons. I'm using air quotes and lessons loosely because they don't really give lessons. You just kind of pay to ride and you can ride one of the horses in their corrals. For literal years, this ranch, Chaparral Ranch, has had so many people calling them out and exposing them. Horses that have allegedly been abused, horses that have sores, saddle sores, horses that are overworked, malnourished, dehydrated, dehydrated. And the more disturbing aspect is children who are consistently being hurt or injured, as well as adults that are riding these horses, which, you guys, duh. This is why I tell people to go to a real riding facility if you want to ride horses. Do not go to nose-to-butt trail riding touristy locations, because the problem with that, these horses are mistreated, they're not trained well. You not only abuse an animal or participate in the abuse of an animal and the overworking exploitation of an animal, but you're also putting your safety and your children's safety at risk. And at Chaparral Ranch, so many people have been injured for years that it's actually surprising that their licenses have been renewed over and over and over and over again. And honestly, it's only been since this came into the public spotlight that their license was finally revoked and they were forced to leave the park just a couple of weeks ago. When the San Francisco Recreation and Park Department was presented with evidence last week of animal mistreatment, serious injuries, and dangers to children during horseback rides at Golden Gate Park's Burkett Stables, it quickly pulled the plug on the activity. The department, which continued to renew the Chaparral Corporation's permit to operate riding lessons and horse camps over a period of about 5 years, said it wasn't entirely aware of the deep well of concerns about the equestrian operation until reports brought it to light. But interviews and documents unearthed by the Standard show that warning signs were in plain view for years, but largely overlooked by San Francisco officials who let a troubled horseback riding company operate in San Francisco's largest park. In one instance, a woman with decades of riding experience owning horses repeatedly sounded alarm bells to a myriad of agencies, including the Recreation and Park Department, the Recreation and Park Commission, the Parks Alliance, Animal Care and Control, the Commission of Animal and Welfare, and Friends of Camp Mather, the nonprofit associated with the site. In emails obtained by the Standard, Rosemary described a horseback riding company with seemingly endless number of skeletons in its closet, warnings echoed by Chaparral employees and members of the public who spoke to the Standard as part of a 3-month investigation into Chaparral Ranch. In the end, the park department continued renewing Chaparral's permits to operate on city land, most recently in December. Chaparral Ranch and the city now face a gross negligence lawsuit from a woman, Christine Kendrick, who was thrown off a horse during a beginner riding lesson at Chaparral Ranch, breaking her back and her pelvis. Dude. And people want to sit here and say that I'm the biggest hater. I've actually seen people say this, that I am the biggest hater of nose-to-butt trail riding facilities. For a reason, you guys. It's not only bad for the horses. They live a terrible life. Most of these horses are tied up all day, every day, with tack that doesn't fit, carrying riders around for hours that weigh too much for them. And it also poses a risk to you and your children. Don't put yourself at risk. People die riding horses, you guys. People die every year riding horses. There were other warning signs that Chaparral's operations weren't up to par. Records show that Chaparral's CEO founded a new, now defunct horseback riding company that was the subject of multiple lawsuits in the 2000s. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration also found violations at Chaparral in 2022 after the death of an employee. You guys, don't go to these places. I hope that we finally get to a world where they don't exist at all. Nose-to-butt trail riding facilities should not exist. Chaparral Ranch must vacate Golden Gate Park by Saturday after the city revoked its permit last week. It won't be able to operate at Camp Mather. However, the company still has locations in South Bay cities. Essentially, there's an incredibly long list of concerns about this place specifically, but if you guys are going to take away anything from this video, I want it to be that this is not only about this horseback riding company. All of them are like this. Sure, there might be one that treats their horses well, that doesn't overwork their horses, but if 99% of them are bad, we should just get rid of all of them. I'm sure there was at least one circus out there that treated their animals well, but that doesn't mean that we need to keep circuses around. And that argument in and of itself is so stupid. It's so unbelievably stupid. Have common sense. Do not support stuff like this. I wanted to make this video because literally nobody is talking about this. I don't know why nobody is talking about this, because this is a big deal. This is one of the biggest nose-to-butt trail riding facilities in the United States. And I'm so happy that it's being shut down. I hope that there's more reform and more regulation and more laws protecting these horses for all of these companies that are trying to operate and exploit them. I mean, honestly, next we need to be investigating the mules that work at the Grand Canyon. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you took something away from it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Don't forget to check out orbitingbeast.com. We've got all those original clothes and artwork available there, and my Patreon and members. But I love you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.